Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 9th of September. India urges to tackle deficits as BRICS rallies against US tariffs. Oli quits as Nepal's PM as anti-corruption protests spiral. And Amnesty says Pakistan spying on millions through phone tapping and firewall. And now for all the details. India on Monday urged BRICS nations to address their trade imbalances with New Delhi as the bloc rallied against US tariffs. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said the country's biggest trade deficits are with BRICS partners and called for fair and transparent practices to strengthen intra-bloc commerce. The meeting came as US President Donald Trump's tariff hikes, doubling duties on Indian goods to 50%, sparked criticism from Washington's allies and rivals alike. While Brazil accused the US of blackmail and China warned against hegemonism and protectionism, India stressed constructive approaches to trade.
The world requires constructive and cooperative approaches to promote trade that is sustainable. Increasing barriers and complicating transactions will not help. Neither would the linking of trade measures to non-trade matters. The BRICS itself can set an example by reviewing trade flows among its member states.
And Shmuel Abramson, the chief economist of Israel's Ministry of Finance, on Monday said the 50% US tariff on Indian goods was likely to be temporary, expressing confidence that New Delhi and Washington would eventually reach an agreement. His remarks came as India and Israel signed an investment agreement in New Delhi aimed at promoting and protecting reciprocal investments. According to Israel's finance ministry, it is the first organization of economic cooperation and development country to sign such a pact with India. The development comes amid global economic uncertainty triggered by Washington's tariff hikes on Indian imports, which includes an additional 25% levy linked to India's purchase of Russian crude oil.
I think it's really, I don't need to give India advice. India is really good negotiators, and I believe this is a temporary situation where India and the United States, that are really long-time partners and have a very good and clear future together, will find the agreement to lower these tariffs. I believe that will be achieved.
And in a major development in South Asia, Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned from his post on Tuesday after violent protests against social media ban and corruption spiraled. The Supreme Court, Parliament and private residences of the President and the Prime Minister were also reportedly vandalized and set on fire. Reports suggest that the army was deployed to handle the situation and take control. We have a report.
Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned on Tuesday after violent anti-corruption protests defied an indefinite curfew, a day after 19 people were killed and over 100 injured in clashes sparked by a social media ban. The government lifted the ban on Monday, but unrest continued as demonstrators stormed the parliament and set it ablaze, forcing Oli to quit and plunging Nepal into fresh political uncertainty. This came after Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak resigned following the violent protests. In his resignation letter to President Ramchandra Patil, Oli said he stepped down to help resolve the crisis. The army appealed for restraint, while Patil began consultations on a new leader. Oli, serving his fourth term since July 2023, faced cabinet resignations as colleagues quit on moral grounds.
नेपाल में जो अभी कंडीशन है ना, उसके हिसाब से हमें ये केपी ओली हमारा ये देश को ये छोड़ के जाना चाहिए. ऐसे हमारा देश को बहुत सारा स्टूडेंट लोग मर गया है, इसलिए हमें ये केपी को हमारे देश से निकालना चाहिए और हम जैसा स्टूडेंट को ना ये हमारा देश के लिए आवाज उठाना चाहिए हमको.
Nepal had blocked access to several social media platforms, including Facebook, last week after they failed to register with authorities in a crackdown on misuse. Organizers of the protests have called them demonstrations by Gen Z, saying young people are frustrated by government corruption, a lack of economic opportunities, and a recent social media ban. Anger against the government showed no signs of easing off.
Amnesty International has accused Pakistan of running one of the world's most extensive surveillance systems outside China, using Chinese and Western technology to spy on millions of citizens. In a report released on Tuesday, the rights watchdog said Pakistan's intelligence agencies operate a lawful intercept management system that can monitor at least 4 million mobile phones alongside a Chinese-built firewall, WMS 2.0, capable of blocking 2 million internet sessions and censoring platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and X. Amnesty said these tools supplied by firms from China, Germany, France, the US, Canada, and the UAE enable authorities to tap calls, read texts, and restrict online spaces, particularly in Balochistan, where internet blackouts are routine. The findings draw on a case filed after leaked calls of Bushra Bibi, wife of ex-Premier Imran Khan. While Pakistani ministries deny phone tapping, the telecom regulator admitted ordering operators to install LIMS. Right groups warn the surveillance fuel repression of dissent and media freedom, already tightened since Imran Khan's 2022 ouster. Amnesty called the dual system a troubling development that could further erode privacy and free expression in Pakistan. Moving on, an exiled activist has accused the Prime Minister of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir of openly backing jihadi groups and promoting terrorism. He also charged Islamabad with treating POJK as a colony where people's basic rights are routinely suppressed.
Exiled political activist Amjad Ayub Mirza has sharply criticized Prime Minister of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Chaudhry Anwar ul-Haq, accusing him of endorsing terrorism and aligning with jihadi outfits. Mirza alleged the leader is using his office to promote radical ideology, warning it poses a serious threat to peace and stability in the region.
You see, this is no secret that the Prime Minister of Pakistani-occupied Jammu and Kashmir himself has been inviting all the jihadi organizations to his public meetings and has been raising slogans of Al-Jihad, and he has publicly confessed that his government is going to facilitate jihad in Indian Kashmir. So why is he not being prosecuted by United Nations for promoting terrorism in the region? He is promoting terrorism publicly, and there are public statements, his press statements, he has been quoted in the media, but he still remains the Prime Minister of Pakistani-occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Mirza also accused Islamabad of treating PJK as its colony, where the Legislative Assembly is tasked with suppressing civil, political, and economic rights of the people. He said the Joint Awami Action Committee has emerged as a united platform against political suppression, but this development is now seen as a threat by Islamabad.
Pakistani-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is a colony of Pakistan, and one of the main jobs that has been designated to the so-called Legislative Assembly and the government of Pakistani-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is to suppress public discontent, to suppress public mobilization against the government, and to suppress the civil rights, economic rights, and political rights movement.
A United Nations assessment of the impact of Afghanistan's recent earthquake found 5,230 homes destroyed and 672 damaged in 49 villages. The UN has not been able to get to the vast majority of the remote villages. Shannon O'Hara, the coordination chief for the UN Humanitarian Office in Afghanistan, said that the damaged roads in the country's mountainous east, where the 6.0 magnitude quake struck, have made it extremely difficult to assess the impact in the 441 affected villages. The United Nations estimates the quake has affected up to 500,000 people, more than half of them children, and some of them have returned from neighboring Pakistan and Iran. O'Hara also said the devastation got worse as the UN team got closer to the epicenter, with entire villages destroyed and the overpowering smell of dead animals. Some families who have lost their homes and livelihoods were living in crowded tents, while many others were sleeping under the open skies, exposed to rain and cold. The earthquake struck on August 31st, killing at least 2,200 people, and that figure could rise as more bodies are being recovered.
The conditions on the ground there are dire. Some families are living in crowded tents, while many are sleeping under the open skies, exposed to rain and cold. There was no clean drinking water and no sanitation. With cholera endemic in the region and initial assessments indicating that 92% of these communities are practicing open defecation, the potential for a cholera outbreak is alarming.
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.